Hi, in this class I'm going to add four scripts and we will control the rest of the animations, for example the smoke and the particles. We will also add the sounds for the game and try to make some basic user interface just for you to understand how you handle those kind of assets. So this is where the game is. Yeah, we can shoot, we receive some damage. If you kill the boss is instantiating the aliens, so if you kill the boss, no more aliens. And yeah, the game is finished. We will not jump yet to the windscreen, but that is the next class. But for now, let's just add what is missing here. So we already have here the smoke prefab. This will play those layers, but the smoke cannot be fixed in position. If I instantiate the smoke where the player is, it will not give us the impression that the game is going forward. So one thing we need to do after we instantiate the smoke is making it go back. To do that we need a script, of course. So script create C# script. This will be called vertical move, and this vertical move script will deal with movement in the vertical axis only. Technically we already have that with the background movement or the aliens movement, but I guess I will make something more generic. So let's drag this to the smoke. Smoke now has the vertical move script. Let's open it in Visual Studio. It's just 2 lines of code. Technically, you need to give it a speed. So we don't need to start anything. We just need a speed. And the update will have that transform position increment by a new vector 3 with 0, 0, 0. Well, this will not increment anything. In the y-axis we are going to have speed. So it will increment 5 in the y-axis every frame, but we don't want every frame. We want to adjust to the frame time, so times time dot delta time, and that's it. This script will make the object move up or down depending on the speed. If the speed is positive, it goes up. If the speed is negative, it goes down. And we should add that to the smoke. Technically you can use this on any object that needs a fixed speed, for example the background or the aliens or whatever. Speed is here, speed is 5. So let's simulate this. I will disable the background and the alien boss because I don't want aliens. I will hit play and I will drag a smoke to the scene to see what happens. If I drag one here, this happens. See, the smoke happens, the animation runs, the object disappears and moves up. So if the animation is -5 or -6 or minus whatever speed you want, -10 for example, you drag here and the smoke goes down. I guess -10 is too much, so -6. Yeah, looks nice for a plane that is about to crash. The plane is flying and then it will make some smoke. Okay, so this is done. The next problem is how can we detect how damaged the plane is and how can we apply this smoke animation to it. Well, to do it we need another script. let's create a new C# script. I will call this smoke generator. The purpose of this script is to be generic, so I can use this in the player, in the aliens, and I can have different behaviors in everyone. So smoke generator goes inside the player. I will use the prefab. If your prefab is different from your player, or if you don't have a player prefab, you create the player prefab. If you already have a prefab and you don't know exactly in which object are you working, you click on this one, go on overrides, and then I don't have it, but you may have. You'll say apply all, and it will make a copy of this inside the prefab. And now you edit the prefab. So inside the prefab we have here the smoke generator. Let's open the smoke generator. We'll need to have access to the object life script. You need to have access to the sprite, to the prefab that has the animation of the smoke. And then it needs to know which kind of numbers it will deal with in terms of life, damage, and the speed of how much smoke it instantiates per second. So let's try to build that. First thing first, we need to know how much life the player has. So we need to access this component over here. To access a component, we can just make a variable with the type of the same component. So the type of this variable will be object life. So the type is object life. Instead of float, int or boolean or whatever, this type is object life. So the script is expecting to have access to a script or to a component with the same class. Object life, and let's call it player life. Okay, so this is a variable that is empty. I will not make it public because in the start function I will get that object automatically. So to get that object, I will say this variable, this player life variable, player life, it's equal to, now let's get the component. Get component. Okay. And which component are we going to get? So now that we have here the object life component being inserted directly inside this variable, which is the same type, I can access its values, its public variables, so I can get this life variable and read the number. Next thing will be define the numbers that will trigger the smoke. Just a little bit of smoke in the beginning and then more smoke when you are close to die. So I guess we can have here a public float low damage life equals to, by default I will put 7. Now same thing, public float high damage life equals 3. So when life is 3 we consider it a high damage, 3 or lower of course. And then we need also the speed of the smoke, so we will associate less smoke when it's low damage and more smoke when it's high damage. So public float, because we are going to use time and time is float, low damage timing equals, so low damage can be like half a second, I don't know, 0.6 f. And this low life doesn't need to be float because life is an int, but I guess it will work anyway. But yeah, let's just change this to int. Int. And last one, public float high damage timing equals to 0.2, so faster smoke. Because we are going to count time, we'll need our float counter. So, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. So we start by resetting the counter. Every frame we increase the counter, so we start counting. Counter increase by time, delta time. So counter will count seconds. And now we need to instantiate the smoke. Okay, we have here the smoke. Oh, we don't have here the smoke yet. So public game object smoke prefab. Then we need to add it to the inspector. Every time the counter goes whatever it needs to count, we will instantiate the smoke prefab at this position, transform position, so this will be the same as the object of the script, and quaternion dot identity rotation. This is done, semicolon. Well, if I play now, it will instantiate a smoke every frame because there's no rules, it's just here. So let's add some constraints to our script. If we are going to instantiate smoke only if this is less than 7, if the life of the player is less than 7, we need to count this lower damage file. File. Not file, this is life. Life. Okay. Low damage life and high damage life. So if now we call player life, yeah, player life has the information. Player life is a variable that points to the object life script, and it has the information life inside. So player life dot life, if player life dot life it's lower than 7, but it will not be 7, it will be low damage life. Low damage life. We instantiate. Open curly braces, down, enter, alt, up, and this is inside the if. If player life is lower than the low damage life, it will start to instantiate smoke. Well, this happens every frame because we don't have a counter, is not working yet here. So let's do it. And so if life is less than 7 and the counter is higher than low damage timing, we instantiate one smoke object. We reset the counter equals 0, and we instantiate one and everything starts again, so it will wait half a second again to instantiate another and another, and so this goes on and on and on. Now we need exactly the same thing. Copy, paste, but instead of low damage we are going to test the high damage, and if high damage is if player life is lower than high damage and counter is higher than high damage timing, it will do the same thing, but this will be faster because this number is smaller. What's going to happen is if it's low damage, it will instantiate this one over here with this timing. This will not work because this timer is faster. Once this is working, this will never happen when high damage is achieved, because this will reset the counter, it will start from beginning, and this will never be true again. So that's it. I can say less or equal. Less or equal. Save, and that's it. We should have smoke. We should have smoke coming out of the plane. High damage is not correct. High damage. And instantiate is also wrong because it's with capital I. Save. Low damage timing does not exist in the current context. Oh, it's not correct here. Save. So now we should have let me enable the aliens because I need them. Now I should have smoke coming out of the plane as soon as my life goes lower than 7. And when it goes lower, my life is here. Come on. Reset. Pause. Player. So where is my life? 7 and 3. So my life is here, 10. Let's continue playing and see what happens. Okay, let's one hit. 9. I don't want to die. Come on, bullets. 9, 8. So next one should start have smoke. Nope. No smoke because the smoke prefab variable does not have player, doesn't know what the smoke is. Smoke prefab. Let's bring the smoke here, and now it should be okay. Nine, 8, the next one, 7, and I have smoke. Well, smoke can be a little bit faster because it's, I don't know. Let's go to the high damage to see what is the faster one. 4, 3. Now I have 3. Yes, now I have. Well, this could be the slower version. So 0.2. Let's go on again on player. Low damage 0.2, and I guess high damage 0.08. Okay, yeah, low damage. I have a little bit of smoke. Smoke can go down a little bit slower. Yeah, but it's okay, I guess. Now a lot of smoke. I'm about to explode. Another one and I will die. Yep. So I guess I can make the smoke go a little bit slower. Instead of -6, I can go -5 inside the smoke prefab, vertical move -5, and that's it. So now the next thing will be add the same behavior to the aliens. So let's make the aliens also have smoke as their life changes. So let's go, for example, on alien 3, we will add the smoke generator script. Where is the smoke prefab? Smoke prefab, it's here. Now we need to check, because life object of the alien is 5, not 10, like the player. We need to adjust that. So let's say 6 is low damage and 3 can be, sorry, 6 no, 4. 4 is low damage, 2 is high damage, and the speeds could be 0.2 and 0.08 like ours. I will just copy this component, copy component. Now let's go to alien 2, select this menu, paste component as new, and let's adjust these numbers because alien 2 has a life of 3, so 2 should be low damage, 1 should be high damage, speeds can be the same, and alien 1, menu, paste component as new, and this life is 2, so 1 should be everything. .08. This will not work properly. Why? Because the smoke goes down and these are flying against us, so the alien smoke should go up. But I cannot go here and change the number, because if I do this, my smoke goes up because it's the same prefab. So the best way of solving this problem is just duplicating the smoke, Control D or Command D. Now on this smoke one I will call it alien smoke or smoke alien. And now this smoke alien goes inside all of this smoke prefab inside the aliens. Smoke alien goes here, alien 1, alien 2, and alien 3. So now this smoke alien, our smoke is -5, smoke alien will be +5, so it goes up. And this should be enough for us to have all the aliens smoking when they are getting bullets from me. Yep. Let me just pause, go here on maximize on play, unpause, and yep, they are smoking a lot and they is being destroyed. It's okay. Now I notice here a problem. Let's test here one thing. Reset. When I hit an alien 3 enough to have many smoke, see what happens to the smoke. It disappears as soon as the alien goes out of the screen. And why? Why this is happening? Well, this is happening because the aliens are being destroyed right next to the camera. The camera is here. The aliens are being destroyed at -5, I guess, here or here. So, and as soon as the alien goes down, as soon as the alien disappears here, -6, the smoke will also disappear, which is not very realistic. The aliens are outside of our camera, but they should continue, technically they should continue flying, so we can solve that by making aliens disappear. Instead of Y position to destroy to be -5, let's put it to like -7. Let's give it 2 more meters. And now the aliens should be destroyed if they can pass through me. They should be destroyed far away from the camera, so the smoke does not look like it's being removed from the scene, because we see the smoke going down and disappearing naturally. Let's try that. Maximize on play. Okay. Let's see the behavior of this smoke, see? Yeah, now it can disappear because we cannot see it anymore. This is okay. Now let's test number 1, it's okay. Number 2 is okay, number 3 is okay. Everything is working properly. Okay, so this is done. Let's do the next prefab, that is the impact of the bullets. We should have these particles when the bullets collide with the target. Well, to do that, we just need to edit the bullet impact score, because we are already detecting when the bullets go against an object. So we just need to go inside the bullet, search for the bullet impact score script, and here we just need to add public game object particles prefab, and then when we detect the collision, we remove some points to the other one, we destroy the bullet, but before that we need to instantiate the particles. So instantiate particles prefab, which is our variable, at transform position. This refers to the position of the bullet, because this is inside the bullet, with quaternion identity rotation. And that's it. It's as simple as this. When the bullet impacts, it will instantiate the particles at that position. So let's save, and now let's just edit the bullets to have those particles. Because this script applies to the player bullets and to the alien bullets, we just need to have, so particles prefab, we just need to go here, particles goes here, and now in the alien bullet do the same. Alien bullet will detect the player and it will add particles to the impact. Let's test it. Probably we will have to adjust the layers because the particles are too small, and if they are behind the players we cannot see them. But let's see if they are working. I guess they are working. I can see them, and also the alien bullets are instantiating the particles. Let's see if I can pause the game. Let's go frame by frame. Here are the particles. These are the rest of the particles, and then more frames of the particles, and then we will be destroyed because of collision. So we can clearly see the particles of the aliens, so I guess they are in the correct layer, and our bullet, it's here. I guess it's behind the aliens, should be on top. So let's adjust those layers. Let's say player sprite renderer should be 0. Okay, on top of the player will be the particles 1, and on top of the particles, well, particles goes 2, because in between the particles and the player I want the smoke. Smoke should be 1. It's always on, it comes from top of the player, but we can see the particles anyway. And the explosion should be 3 on top of everything. And smoke alien should be -1. So we fly above the aliens. Alien smoke should be below us, but particles are always visible as ice, always on top of everything. I guess these aliens could be lower. Alien 1 -2, alien 2 -3, and alien 3 -4. So as fast as they go, the higher they go. Yeah, makes sense. Let's play and enjoy a little bit to see if the things look okay. Yep. Oh, the bullets of the aliens are not correct. Are flying from the top of the aliens. Yes, it should be below the alien. So alien bullet should go -4, -5, -5. So it's below everything. Our bullet should be -1. Yep. Everything's okay. Yeah, I guess it's okay. So now let's try to having sound to it. You can download a file called E6 assets. This has the sounds and the font that we are going to use in a bit, and you should put those inside the asset folder of your game. So you go here, right click, show in Explorer or show in Finder, and now this is your project folder. Inside the project folder you have the assets. So let's open this zip folder and let's just add these 2 folders here inside the assets. This contains the font and the sounds and the music. Okay, let's close and go to Unity. Unity will import all these assets, and now that we have here these new assets, the fonts and the sounds, we are going to deal with them. When you are using interface, you cannot use the system fonts. The file needs to be inside Unity. So that's why this is here. About the sounds and the music. So we have here some sounds. The propeller sound. This is to use in the player. The player cannon, when we shoot. The laser, when the alien shoots. And the explosion. Okay. And that's it for now. That's it. How can we control the sounds? Let's start by the player, prefabs player, and let's add the propeller sound to the player. It's as simple as just drag here. Unity will create an audio source component, which is the player. This is the object that plays the sound, and the audio clip is here, the propeller, and it has some properties here that you can change, but for now the only one that we need to make sure that is here is the loop. Okay, because this sound needs to loop, and the play on awake by default is on, and this should be. So when this object begins to exist, it will play the sound. If it's a loop, it stays playing. Another thing that you should adjust also is the volume. The thing about the volume is in percentage from 0 to 100%. If you want half the sound instead of -6 decibels, as you find in software, audio software, you get 0.5, so 50%. Anyway, I already tested this before and already know which are the volumes more or less to make this sound okay. And I guess the player propeller is 0.4, more or less. You can adjust this later if you want, but at least it will not sound weird when everything is playing together. The player has an audio source component that will play this sound when it appears, and it will loop with this volume. That's it. When we shoot, we should have the cannon. When I shoot, I should have this. If we put this player cannon inside the bullet, if we put the player cannon here, every time a bullet appears, this sound will play, and that's it. Volume for the bullet is 1, is the maximum. The same thing happens inside the alien bullet. Every time an alien fires against us, we just need to have the laser sound inside the laser asset. Same property, play on awake, and the volume of the laser alien bullet goes to 0.1. And now what we are missing out, we are missing the explosion. Explosion also needs to have the sound of the explosion. It will play on awake, and the volume will be 0.65. But this one is tricky. And why this is tricky? Because the explosion has a component that we did called wait and remove. So this explosion will happen, and after 0.75 seconds it will disappear. It will be removed from the scene. But the explosion, and the explosion sound is inside this, so the explosion sound goes away. But the explosion sound has 7 seconds in duration. If we cut here at 0.75 seconds, it's more or less here, the explosion will sound like this, which is weird. We don't hear the end of the explosion. We should hear. Okay? So, how can we solve this? The best solution is always the most simplest solution. Explosion will be removed after 8 seconds. And then that's it. Because we use that trick of having an empty frame at the end of the animation could be there looking transparent, so we cannot see it during 8 seconds, so we can hear the sound that is inside. Okay, so now we should have sound on all of these interactions. For example, an interesting sound to add here is some kind of debris, of some kind of metal impacting in another metal, and every time we instantiate some particles, we have here the particle sound also. It could be interesting. Well, this sound is a little bit empty. We are missing something here, and of course we are going to use the music to go over everything and to fill that emptiness. But if this was a more advanced game, probably instead of one explosion I would have, I don't know, 10 different explosions and make the computer select one of them. And same thing for the laser, for the cannon, for the propeller, or the propeller could have different kinds of sounds. If I go forward it will accelerate, if I go backwards change a little bit the tone. So this kind of manipulations of sound will increase the quality of it, but we are not going to do this in these tutorials. Anyway, let's add the music. Music is here. I have some music's over here. This info, so this music, I got this music from a website where you can find free assets for games, and some of the assets are musics. So this is the license. This is under CC0 Creative Commons license, so I can use this music. This is the guy that made the music. If you want to make games, make sure you have the rights to use the assets. You draw yourself your things, you create your sounds, and you create your music. If you cannot create, you use or free music, free sounds, or you can buy license, okay? Never use copyright material in your games. So, I have here these musics. I will use this level 1 music on top of my level 1 game. Very nice. So, where do I put this sound? The sound doesn't belong anywhere, so I can have the sound here. It will create an object, empty object with just this audio source. But because I already have here a script object to have things that are not related with anything else, I guess I will put the music inside this. And that's it. Play on awake, loop, I guess. I don't know if this music loops. And it doesn't need to be so loud, so 0.5, we need to hear the other sounds. And let's see, it should be okay. Yep, I guess it's okay. Our cannon should be a little bit louder, but we cannot go over 1. So it will not be louder. But anyway, for now that's it. It's okay. Let's now deal with the user interface. I will do a very simple interface. I will just write here in the corner our life. But it's just to explain how to implement that behavior, how to have an interface, how to communicate from our scripts to the interface, and how to write things there. To add an interface, we should go here and right click inside the hierarchy of the level you are working on, the scene you are working on, right click UI, and then you have the text. And as you can see, it didn't add only the text. It added the canvas, the text inside the canvas, and the event system. And this event system is about you interacting with the interface. We are not going to do that. We are just going to write text there. So let's ignore this for now. And now let's try to understand what the canvas is. So the canvas is like a layer on top of the render of the camera. So if you zoom out, technically you have here the object. I cannot move it. I have here the object, canvas object. This is a weird object because it doesn't belong to the scene, but it is in the scene. We can see it here. It's not very easy to understand if it's your first time seeing this canvas thing, because this represents the layer that is in front of the camera. As you can see here, it shows the text in the correct place, but then if you want to start relate things with other things in the scene, it's difficult to do it. So I like to have the canvas in relation with the camera. And to do that, I go here on the canvas object, and in the canvas render mode, instead of screen space overlay, I will say screen space camera. Now he's throwing me a warning saying, I don't know what camera you are talking about. So I'll pick up this camera and I drag the camera here. So this canvas now is a layer in front of the camera anyway, but it has the size of the camera in the scene. Because we previously had here a folder with a font, now inside the text object I can access the font here. Arial or pixelated. Oh, but it's not showing anything. Yes, you know, it's not showing anything because the box is too small. You go here on this one and you just open it a little bit. Now you can see the text. So now let's do a script to change what is written inside that box. Scripts, right click, create, C# script, let's call it player UI. And let's put this player UI inside the text object. Player UI goes here. And inside this player UI, we need to have two things. We need to have access to the player to see the object life of the player. Let's put this a little bit smaller so I can show you. This player UI script needs to access this object life component here to refer there. I can just use this as a type of variable, as I did in the other script. The type of this variable can be an object life, and it will be called player. Now we need to have the text component of the text object. Okay, so inside the text we have a component called text, and we have a variable called text. So this is text inside text inside text. A little bit confusing. So let's get a variable to put this text inside our script. Let's say the type is text, and the name of our variable will be player UI text. I will save to show you one thing. Save, let's go to Unity, and Unity will throw us an error saying that text could not be found. Text does not exist. It doesn't know what text means. Well, it doesn't recognize the text type because Unity engine does not have the proper classes to do it. So we need to add a new library here using Unity engine.ui. This is the class that has the text and the text related things that we are going to use here. So now the error will disappear. Let's add here some things. Let's say player, this is the easiest one to do, player UI text. So the text component, but we don't talk to the text component, we talk to the text variable inside the text component. So player UI text dot text, variable is with small t. Player UI text dot text is equal to whatever we want to write here. So let's say player life dot life. This is the life variable inside the object life of the player, and that's it. We write the number in the text. This will give us another error. It will say, I don't know how to write a number in a string. So we need to transform this int to a string. And to do that, at the end of whatever number we have, we just do dot to string with no arguments, and that's it. Save. This number, this is a number, it will transform into a string, and it goes to the text variable inside the text player UI text, which is this here. So if I go to Unity and I play, I will have the number 10 over there, and if I start to lose, player life does not exist in the current context. Player life. It's not player life, it's only player. player, yeah, player, save. So now if I play the game, I should have this number 10 only, and it goes down as soon as I start to lose my life. Oh, sorry. Player UI reference not set to an instance of an object. Of course, the text, the player UI script, player UI does not know what the player is. This needs to be public, and I need to go on the inspector and drag the player there. So this variable now is public, is expecting an object life script. I will drag the player and it will lock on the object life that is inside the player. So player, object life. Now it will work, it will show here the life of the player, but it will not write life colon 10. It will write just 10. Or not. Our reference not set to an instance of an object 21. I forgot to get that. Sorry. So text, player UI text is equal to get component text inside the same object. So this will be the component text that is in the same object where the script is. Save. Okay, now we can play and see if we don't have any more errors. I hope not. Yep, number 10 is there, and now it's a 9, now it's a 7, 8, 7, 6, and I explode, and my life still is 5. So we need to solve this problem, because when I die, my life should be 0. So let's go again here, and let's do some check, because life is 5. When I lose, life was 5, but then the player disappeared from the scene because it was removed, and the text, it didn't throw us an error. I really remember this happening when you are searching for an object and the object disappears, you get an error. I don't know, maybe they changed something in Unity to automatically avoid those kind of errors. But we need to deal with that anyway, because we need to know when the player is gone to write life 0. By the way, to write life, we do this life colon space plus. So life plus the number. Okay, that's it. But we are not going to do this directly in the player text, because we need to check if the player is there, and if it's not, it will write life 0. So let's do a string, a variable, it can be inside the update, no problem. A string out text, it's equals to, and we can put whatever we have here over there. So out text equals to this, and then we print out text. We don't print, we send to the text the out text, and the out text is this thing, unless the player disappears. So if, now let's see if the player is there. Player is equal to null. So if the player does not exist, we just out text, it's equal to life 0, and that's it. If the player exists, it will write this. If the player does not exist, it will not write anything, because this is null. But if this is null, it will change the text to life 0, and it will write life 0. Save, and now when we die, life should go 0 and not stay in the last number it was. Life 8, life 7, and if I collide, life 0. So the thing is working, and I guess this class can be just this, completing the animations, adding the sounds and the music, and deal with this interface thing. And I guess that for this tutorial, that's it. So see you in the next one.